All right, fam, let's get real, man. Division is tearing us apart. You scroll X, flip on the news, and it's a dumpster fire full of anger, politics, and hopelessness. Does this sound familiar at all? I've been there, ex-soldier, burned out, staring at the world, gone mad. But here's the kicker, though. Jesus didn't leave us to drown in all of this mess. No, not at all. Today, I'm going to be unpacking how his raw, shameless love cuts through the chaos. I'm going to challenge you to stick with me today. This ain't your grandma's Sunday sermon. It's absolutely a lifeline for the depleted. And I'm fired up to share it all with you. So, look around, man. Look around. Division's at an all-time high. Red versus blue, left versus right, mask versus no mask. It's a cage match, and we're all bruised. We all getting, strays, catching all these strays out here. I remember in 2020, stuck in my own head. I was watching folks I love like turn into enemies over a ballot. Okay, social media, a megaphone for rage. One study says 41% of Americans have cut ties over politics. 41%. That's not just stats. That is us bleeding out hope that we desperately are looking for. I felt it too. Overwhelmed, kicked off, ready to punch a wall. You ever been there? Where is the noise? It drowns out everything good. You're not alone though. The world is pumping out negativity 24/7, and it's easy to sink. But here's where it shifts. Jesus don't play that game at all. He didn't scroll intro. He actually showed up with something much, much bigger. Let's dive in. Let's dive into that because it's where the real stuff actually starts. So if the world is a mess, where is the hope? Spoiler, it's not in your news feed. So don't go over to Instagram or X looking for it. It's actually in the man who flipped over tables and still found a way to love hard. I want to give you guys some hope today, some hope in Jesus' teachings. Jesus walked into a power keg, the Roman Rome, religious beef, folks hating each other's guts. Does that sound familiar? Yet, he didn't pick a side and swing. Nah, he dropped truth bombs like Matthew 4:44, where it says, love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. Love your enemies. Love your enemies. That's wild. I'm over here like, Jesus, I can barely love my neighbor who votes differently. But check this. He lived it. He walked it. On the cross, bleeding out. He's praying, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing. And that right there, that isn't weakness, that's power. I learned this the hard way. I had to find out in the military. The military life taught me grit. But faith taught me the importance of grace. When my own anger had me pinned down, Jesus showed me. He showed me love isn't about agreement. It's actually about compassion. Period. So Trump, Elon Musk, the tariffs, the cuts, the budget cuts, the stock market crashing down. How are you able to turn the other cheek and take it lying down if you're upset about it? If you didn't like the results of the election and it's still haunting you every time you wake up? But Jesus is telling us, he's telling us to turn the other cheek and not to get walked on, but to show a better way. Sure, you can go out and protest. And we've seen a lot of those protests happening over the weekend, 1 million, some say. But what it really is, or what you really should be doing, you should show some shameless love, family. Unapologetic, in your face hope. And it's not just talk. That's the playbook for this mess. It's just the playbook that you need for what is going on right now that we all are in together. Let's break that down a bit. Because I got some steps to make it real quick. Okay? Jesus laid the foundation, but how do we live it when the world's screaming out hate? Here's where the rubber meets the road. Cliche, I must say. So, how do we do this? I know how. Start with step one. See the humanity in folks. That guy who's raging on X, he's not just a profile. He got hurts, he got fears, he has a story. I used to judge real hard, okay? Maybe harder than some of you guys do. And man, how can you think like that? Then I'll hear Jesus whisper, "Yes, obey that guy." Ouch. And then start there. Acknowledge their side, even if it makes you miles away from yours. So, step two. Going into step two now. Trade judgment for empathy. Look, I get it. Empathy is a tough thing when you are mad, okay? But try this though. Ask, why do they feel that way? Maybe they are scared. Maybe they're burned out. Maybe they are like us. I did this with a buddy who went through a hard line opposite to me politically. And listen, I dug in. I dug in real hard. And it turns out he's just trying to protect his kids. Boom. That's where it is. Boiled down. Now we all on an equal playing field. Okay. And when you can find that common ground, which is step three anyways, we are not clones. We realize we're not clones, but we got a lot of shared stuff. Faith, family, wanting peace. I seen it all work. Okay. I sat with a vet who hated my take on guns. 2 coffees later, we are laughing about boot camp. That's the Jesus way. You build a bridge, not a bunker. See, these ain't fluffy ideas. They are battle tested. My free renewal toolkit dives a little bit deeper into this, and it's a practical faith hack to keep you grounded. And grab it while you're at it at marcus-hart.com. If you're ready to level up, though, of course, if you want to jump on this boat of where common ground can create peace for everyone. Now, let's turn the page, though. So let's turn off that page and more into your life. Because compassion is not a theory. It's actually a move. Here's how it play out, though, daily. If you're wondering, how do we use it and apply it? First, you got to listen. You got to really listen. Next, conversation. This the rebuttal in your head, okay? If you're feeling any rebuttal, if you're feeling like you want to talk over someone, you need to stop it. Stop it right there and hear them out. I tried this at Thanksgiving. I got an uncle ratting and ranting around, and I'm biting my tongue very hard. But I asked a question instead of like firing back, instead of just pointing the fingers. And believe it or not, he softened up. It's like Jesus sitting with the tax collectors. Remember that story? He heard them out. He loved them. And eventually he was able to change them. Second, engage with respect. There's going to be a lot of heated debate. Keep it solution focused. I have had treads that go from trash talk to, hey, good point, but it takes guts. It takes a lot of them, but it really works. So sip some Transform You coffee while you're thinking about it, and while you're at it, it's going to keep you sharp without the jitters. And you can check that out, of course, at transformumedia.com, where you'll find more about the Transform You coffee. It is absolutely the fuel that you need for the fight. Now, third, to stay in grace, you got to stay in grace because everyone is wrestling with something, rather it be divorce, flaws, chaos. It comes in all different forms. And I myself, I have been depleted. I've been a depleted Baptist, craving Jesus' love. And grace says, I see you, and I ain't giving up. That's where my mastermind comes in. Real talk, people. Real talk. It's real talk with folks that's chasing the same fire. All right. So you got to hit that marcus-hart.com to join us if you want to learn more about the mastermind. So it's all about small moves. And I was telling my son this just the other day about the importance of hitting the small moves, and so you can celebrate the small wins that will gradually snowball you to the big win. It's about the big picture, but within the big picture, there are small minor details you must pan out. So let's zoom out and see why this all matters. Okay. Here's the payoff. Compassion is absolutely a game changer. One act, like smiling at the cashier who's had a day, and one of those days, it ripples out. I saw it in Iraq. We shared a meal with a local, shifted his whole vibe. And you do that, and folks notice. They tend to notice. They're like, what could that guy got that I don't got? And the answer is simple. It's Jesus. By picking love over anger, you are not just surviving division. You're going to be crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. You can inspire others to drop the hate and grab onto the hope. I have watched it happen. Readers of my renewal toolkit, they emailing me all day, every day, talking about Marcus, I forgave my ex. And that's power. Because you know how hard that is? Do you really know how hard it is to forgive an ex that really, really done you over? I've been there. Okay. Been there, got the t-shirt. You can sign my name on it and everything. But compassion, though. Compassion is the antidote to all of this mess. Family. A path to peace absolutely starts with you. No one else. Imagine a world where we all did this. Less yelling and more healing. And that way you can save your shoes from wearing out when you're out there protesting. There won't be no need for that. And that's why I'm here. The vision at hand, the big vision. I'm here uncut and unfiltered to you, pointing you to the one who makes it all possible. So all right, let's land this plane. Let's come to a easy halt, because I ain't letting you leave out empty-handed at all. I want you to leave with something. Let's start by asking yourself, what's your next move? Next time the vision happens and it hits you right at your front door, show us a little bit of compassion. Do it the Jesus style, the Jesus way. What would Jesus do? All right? You have got the steps. I gave you the steps throughout this whole entire recording, this episode, or whatever you want to call it. Now, I'm going to challenge you to run with them now. I want you to smash this like button if you absolutely have loved this and made it this far. Drop a heck yes in the comment section and share it with someone who's drowning in all of the noise. They need this too. Absolutely. Subscribe to Marcus Hart Uncut. Hit that notification bell, because we are just getting started. And if you want more, my free renewal toolkit and the mastermind is waiting for you at marcus-hart.com. Tools that's going to keep you filled by faith and not furry. Well, what would be furry? More like fury, right? And while you're at it, grab some Transform You coffee at transformumedia.com. Okay? Very easy. Because good vibes, they need good brew, not the other brew. We'll get some good coffee that's brewed. Let's keep it raw. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it Jesus first. Until next time, family, peace out. See you on the next one. Many blessings, peace, and lots of love. We're done.